Hello, I'm Esther Gidou-Yuwat. Welcome to Africa 54. Here is what's coming up. Haitian officials rush to meet a U.S.-imposed deadline to name the 7 members of a new transitional council that will take power as Prime Minister Ariel Henry steps down. The Queen of Buganda talks about the 800-year-old kingdom and championing women's rights as part of her legacy. And a conference is underway in Nigeria to raise awareness about cybersecurity and investing in African data centers. All this and much more coming up on today's Africa 54. Haitian leaders are rushing to meet a U.S.-imposed deadline to name the 7 members of a transitional council that will take power as Prime Minister Ariel Henry steps down. Henry resigned late Monday under pressure from the United States and the leaders of the regional body Caribbean Community, or CARICOM. The proposal for the Transitional Council to govern violence-plagued Haiti emerged during a meeting of CARICOM leaders in the Jamaican capital, Kingston, Monday. News outlets say Haitian leaders were given a 24-hour deadline to announce who would sit on the council. Under the plan, the Transitional Council will consist of 7 members, 6 of them representing various Haitian political coalitions, and the 7th, a representative from the private sector, plus 2 non-voting members from the civil society. The council will select a new prime minister and prepare to hold the next presidential elections. Plans to deploy a multinational force to Haiti were dealt a blow Tuesday when Kenyan officials said the country will not send its peacekeepers to Haiti until the new interim government is in place. Haiti Prime Minister Ariel Henry announced his resignation late Monday after the United States pledged another $100 million to a United Nations-backed multinational security force intended to assist Haitian police in combating gangs, along with $33 million in humanitarian aid. VOA State Department Bureau Chief Nick Cheng reports.
A political crisis and rising violence have created an untenable situation for the Haitian people. Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry has agreed to step down after a transitional authority is established that will govern the violence-plagued nation until new elections are held. The United States is urging him to expedite this transition. Amid the ongoing crisis that threatens Haiti's stability, the U.S. on Monday increased its commitment for the Caribbean countries' security and humanitarian support.
The United States Department of Defense is doubling its approved support for the mission from $100 million to $200 million. And that brings the total U.S. support to $300 million for this effort. I'm also announcing additional humanitarian assistance for the people of Haiti, $33 million to further support their health and food security.
At the United Nations, diplomats hope the deployment of the UN-endorsed multinational security support mission to Haiti will help the country stop the violence. Some analysts believe the mission can create the security conditions necessary for upcoming elections.
Some of it is financial support to actually support this mission. The United States Southern Command is already on record as indicating that they are in process of providing planning assistance, information sharing, and intelligence relating to the situation on the ground in Haiti.
Others are skeptical of foreign forces pouring into Haiti.
You've seen members of Haitian civil society who've come to testify before Congress that have said, we don't want additional forces in our country because forces have come in here, they've raped our women, they've spread disease, they've, collaborated with criminal elements.
The Caribbean community said the Transitional Council for Haiti would consist of 7 members representing political coalitions and the private sector, plus 2 non-voting civil society members. This council will appoint a new prime minister and initiate preparations for upcoming presidential elections. Nike Chin, VOA News, Washington.
The future of Haiti is at stake as politicians across the country scramble for power following the resignation of Prime Minister Ariel Henry. Powerful gangs now control 80% of Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, and are demanding a say in the future of the troubled country under siege. For more on the future of the Caribbean nation, I'm joined live via Skype by David Onserio Monda, a professor of public policy and constitutional law at City University of New York. Professor, Kenya is pausing its deployment of 1,000 police officers expected to lead a multinational security mission. What can Haiti's citizens expect as the country moves forward?
At this point, we don't really know. As your report earlier stated, there's a move to elect the Electoral Council, which will have 7 permanent members and 2 non-voting members. And that's still up in the air. But the environment for which we'll have an executive leadership is still empty. As we know, the Prime Minister has resigned. And it's not clear who will be in control once an international troop force will intervene in Haiti. So everything is still up in the air right now, and things don't look very clear.
You know, Professor, we heard Benin was going to send 2,000 troops as well. We haven't heard much from that country. But how will the delay to send Kenyan troops to Haiti impact that country?
I think it's very dangerous because at this time, if the Kenyan troops are not there, the multinational intervention force is not there, there's a power vacuum in Haiti right now. And we know that when there's a power vacuum, different actors will work to fill that space. At this time, we have the G9 gang led by General Chirizer, and also the GPEP gang and a range of other gangs which are really squabbling for power. So international intervention is really important because these gangs will continue to terrorize and extort people when there is no functioning government, no legislature or judiciary or court system. And the police seem to be overwhelmed with trying to bring law and order back onto the streets of Haiti.
Professor, after evacuating non-essential embassy staff in Haiti, the United States has also now deployed a marine anti-terrorism unit in that country. What do you make of that move?
So I make of that the U.S. has thrown in the towel because when the U.S. begins evacuating its citizens and sending in the Marines, and we know the Marines are the first offensive force that get into a country when the U.S. intervenes, then that means the U.S. is very concerned. The spillover effect of that for humanitarian agencies and also for other countries is to indicate that the situation has become very, very dangerous. And you also see other countries pulling out their embassy staff and their humanitarian staff. So this further deteriorates the situation because it shows the gangs that if the U.S. is pulling out, then they can continue to consolidate their positions and terrorize the people of Haiti.
We haven't heard much from the African Union regarding Haiti. What do you make of that, or what do we know from the African Union? Have they said anything regarding this situation?
So African Union has been very silent, apart from a resolution they passed in 2021 on the election situation in Haiti. Nothing much has come from the AU. So it really seems that this is a bilateral agreement between Kenya and the United States on one hand and the government of Haiti, which at this point is pretty dysfunctional because the Prime Minister has resigned. So again, going forward, I think it's extremely important for the different political factions in Haiti to get together to come and establish some kind of interim governmental order to move the country forward. But the broader question will be what to do about the gangs. Will the gangs be integrated into an interim administration, or will we use a military force through the international intervention unit to go and eliminate the gangs? I think this is a bigger question on the table at this point.
Professor Monda, thank you very much for your insight.
Thank you for having me.
David Onserio Monda is a professor of public policy and constitutional law at City University of New York. Turkey's new naval agreement with Somalia places the Turkish Navy in a strategically vital region, underlining Ankara's growing naval ambitions. However, analysts warn that the agreement threatens to escalate current tensions with Somalia's neighbor, Ethiopia. Dorian Jones reports from Istanbul.
The Somali parliament ratified a 10-year defence agreement with Turkey this month. Under the deal, the Turkish Navy will help protect Somalia's territorial waters and facilitate the training and equipping of the Somali Navy. With Turkey already having a military base in Somalia, naval analysts say the deal is another step in projecting Turkish influence.
This will provide Turkey an opportunity to increase its influence in the Horn of Africa. Because all those external countries, Gulf countries, the Western countries, even Japan has a base in Djibouti. So they are all vying to increase their involvement in the region, especially for economic purposes. So this is an opportunity for Turkey as well.
The Somali naval deal comes as Ankara rapidly expands its navy to have a so-called blue water capabilities, or the ability to operate on the oceans far from the country's home ports.
It focuses on the projection of Turkish capacity, Turkish military capacity in the maritime domain, both in protecting its own EEZs, exclusive economic zones, waters, and also helping its allies, its partners, to do the same. And as you know, like Somalia, for example, has been fighting a increasing actually threat of like piracy.
Turkey's deepening military ties with Somalia come as the Horn of Africa nation faces ongoing tensions with its neighbour Ethiopia. But analysts say Ankara is well placed to contain any fallout, given its good ties with Ethiopia.
Military cooperation, personal cooperation, and personal relation between the leaders. I think its relations are pretty good. I mean, because in the region, everybody everybody looks for a sort of security cooperation, and it's same for Ethiopia. And Turkey is a security provider for Ethiopia as well.
With Turkish-made military drones being widely used by both Ethiopian and Somali militaries in their wars against insurgencies, Ankara has, until now, maintained good ties with both countries. But analysts warn Ankara needs to tread carefully given the region's volatility.
In the long run, this might lead to Turkey's involvement in regional conflicts. So this was what Turkey was trying to avoid in its Africa policy. It does not want to be a part of African conflicts, but it might be dragged into Africa's conflicts.
With Turkey's naval deal with Somalia, the latest step in projecting influence into one of the most volatile parts of the world, analysts say Ankara will need to continue to hone its diplomatic balancing skills. Dorian Jones for VOA News, Istanbul.
The 800-year kingdom of Buganda is considered the largest of the traditional kingdoms in present-day East Africa. Its queen, Sylvia Najida Luswata, is not only a custodian of tradition, but also a brigade between the past and the present, connecting the historical legacy of Buganda with the contemporary challenges faced by its people. Speaking to VOA's Jackson Bunganyi, Queen Najinda, who is in the U.S. to launch her new autobiography, The Nabagereka, Life, Passion, Duty, says that she wants her legacy to be that of a champion for cultural preservation, women's empowerment, and community development.
Buganda has a rich cultural history. How do you ensure that you're passing down the cultural values and traditions to younger generations, especially in this age of social media, of globalization?
How do you ensure that? Well, it's quite difficult because, you know, as you know, before parents were parents and children would listen to them, but these days parenting is really done by not just the parents. You know, the parents would tell them one thing and they'll switch on their iPads and then they'll hear something else, and iPhones will hear something else. But I think we need to continue to be persistent, to talk to them, to talk to the children, and also to continue with such programs like the one I told you, which is Itsakate, to, you know, to instill values, to make sure that children can be discerning in the sense that, yes, you can pick up the modern, but you know, we have our traditions that are also very important and crucial, you know, and that they should hold on to. Again, I always emphasize good culture practices, because we all know that there are bad culture practices, not just in Africa, but also elsewhere. Yes.
So pick up the good things from your culture and maintain it.
Exactly. Yeah. Do not pick up everything that you see or hear.
Why is it important to maintain culture? Why, again, if I was giving the pitch to a young, like my daughter born here in the US, how do I make that pitch to them? Like, your culture is very important to you. Why is culture important?
It gives us a sense of belonging, sense of identity, history, where you're from. And I think that's quite important, because today you have people really who even in their old age are still wondering, where did I come from? Where am I from? But it's important because as they say, you know, it's good to know where you came from if you want
to know where you're going.
Exactly, right. If you want to know where you're going. Yes.
Absolutely, I love that. So what legacy do you hope to leave as the Queen of Buganda, and how do you envision the kingdom's role in the broader context of Uganda's future?
Well, the kind of legacy I hope I could be remembered, that I cared and I tried, and I'm still trying to support people, to support children, to support women in improving their lives, especially when it comes to education, you know, whether it's to support financially or materially, or you know, through the foundation, for example, we have built some and refurbished some structures. So I do advocate for quality education. In health too, we've made a number of achievements. So really to be remembered for, you know, that at least I cared and I tried to contribute to the improvement of the lives of our people. Yes, Buganda still has always played a big role in Uganda's development, and currently there are a number of different development programs that the kingdom is focused on, and given that the central region, which is Buganda, is it is, I call it, a melting pot where you have all the different ethnic groups from Uganda. They all live, so they all benefit from the different health programs, for the different education programs. Buganda itself has schools that it has built, and therefore it's quite instrumental in the whole development of the whole country.
Because everybody benefits.
That was Queen of Buganda, Sylvia Najinda Luswata, speaking to VOA's Jackson Vunganyi. Still to come, a conference is underway to raise awareness about cybersecurity in Nigeria. We'll be right back.
On the next Straight Talk Africa, gangs are paralyzing Haiti and are threatening even more violence. Kenya is proposing to send an elite police force to the Caribbean nation to quell the gang violence there. But a Kenyan court has ruled in January that such a deployment would be unconstitutional. Join me, Heidi Adams, for an in-depth discussion on what's next for Haiti on the next Straight Talk Africa.
A group of 12 women are recipients of this year's International Women of Courage Award. 3 of them are from Africa. On this week's episode of Our Voices, we will introduce you to Agatha Atuhaire, Fatou Balde, and Rabah El Haimad, 3 women who have demonstrated remarkable courage and determination in advocating for the rights of fellow women. Join the conversation each week right here on Our Voices.
Season 4, rockin' with the best. Rockin' with the best. Season 4, rockin' with the best.
In other news, U.S. Deputy Treasury Secretary Wally Adeyemo is urging South Africa to set up its battle against corruption. Adeyemo says there is need for increased anti-corruption efforts and continued work to accelerate South Africa's just transition to renewable energy. The British government says it is considering a plan to send rejected asylum seekers to Rwanda and will reportedly pay them up to nearly $4,000 to make the move. The plan, an extension of existing voluntary returns arrangements, comes as ministers struggle to kickstart separate proposals to deport other migrants to their East African nation. And Cameroonian football authorities are suspending a player they took to this year's edition of the Africa Cup of Nations for allegedly falsifying his name and date of birth, which could see the indomitable Lions facing a future ban from the tournament. Wilfred Nathan Douala is among 62 players suspended from the league over administrative irregularities. Exciting action in Season 4 of the Basketball Africa League continued on Tuesday with just one game between the Cape Town Tigers and Morocco's First D Rabat after Burundi's Dynamo Basketball Club cancelled their second consecutive match, this one against Angola's Petro di Luanda. Morocco dominated their game against South Africa with an 84-58 win, where they held the lead throughout most of the game. This is the third loss for the Tigers after defeat by Burundi's Dynamo on Saturday and Angola's Petro di Luanda at the Sunbeat Arena in Pretoria on Sunday. Africa is currently developing a digital transformation strategy which involves significant investment in new technology, secure internet access, data collection, and fighting corruption. Africa 54 technology correspondent Paul Ndiho joins us with more information. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Esther, and thank you. A conference is underway in Nigeria to raise awareness about cybersecurity and investing in Africa data centers. In addition to training, the conference strives to integrate technology with other sectors of the economy, such as finance, healthcare, education, and transportation. To gain more insight, I spoke to Hirale Daminsha, editor of Cyber News and Chief Operations Officer at the Cyber Center of Awareness and Development in Abuja, Nigeria. Welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you so much for having me.
From where you stand, where do you see technology going? How are people using technology?
Technology, no doubt, is changing narratives in how businesses are done, in how human activities are carried out, from farming, agriculture, to healthcare, to education, to communication. Technology is changing the landscape of the world entirely, and Africa is not left out of it. The COVID experience has shown the world that with technology, human beings are capable of achieving enormous things. And so looking at Africa specifically in terms of the challenges, in terms of the human capital required, technology can help Africa to leapfrog. Technology can help Africa to deliver better human services.
You are in a position where you talk to a lot of people in this space. What are their concerns? How do they want the cyber space, the tech sector? How do you see it being developed in Nigeria?
Tech space in Africa is fast evolving, and both regulatory authorities as well as users are beginning to see why Africa cannot be left out. In a way, technology is helping the quality of life to improve drastically and rapidly across Africa.
A lot of analysts who cover this space, yourself, talk about how data is going to be critical to advance this technology, especially artificial intelligence. In Africa, we have data there, but this data is not stored in the right places. This data is still written and hidden in some file somewhere. It's not digitized. How can we take advantage of the existing technology to harness that data?
Thank you so much, Paul, for that very insightful question. Now, data that is not refined is of no value. Data that is processed, data that is crystallized, data that is researched, data that is, packaged in a way that the value of it would be usable for other socio-economic benefit is what he referred to. Otherwise, crude oil would not be of much significance to humanity except it is refined. So when data is refined, you get to know some dynamics, you get to understand some statistics that, okay, there are a number of children in this geopolitical region who are undernourished or malnourished. There are a number of youths who are unemployed or underemployed in this space. There are a number of people who need medical services in a particular location. Now, this data helps government to plan. It helps organization also to take advantage of market opportunities.
Yeah, you're organizing one of the biggest conferences, as a matter of fact, tomorrow, that brings together people in this space. What should people take away from this conference?
We talk about security of this infrastructure and security of data, as well as the adoption of the new concept of cloud in order to process data. Now, just in 2023, the telecom regulator in Nigeria, the Nigerian Communications Commission, the NCC, reported over 50,000 cases of optic fiber vandalization in Nigeria. And that is a huge economic challenge or sabotage. Now, if you lose such investment in such a strategic sector, it means that the economy may not be able to find the needed balance that will allow other sectors to benefit from the value of the telecom industry at large. So our event, this forum, Data, Infrastructure, Security, and Cloud Forum, is intended to aggregate this sort of conversation, provide solutions, and help to optimize the benefits and the advantages inherent in the telecom industry and the Nigerian economy at large.
Well, on that note, Hilary, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Paul, for having me.
Hilary Demesha is editor of Cyber News and the CEO at a Cyber Center for Awareness and Development in Abuja, Nigeria. Back to you, Esther.
Thanks, Paul. Be sure to join Paul Ndiho every Wednesday for his technology report on Africa 54. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voanews@voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, thanks for watching.